It's pretty clear when you put together the pieces that they have some information about a pending national, international emergency, and they're not telling us because they don't want people to panic. I'm going to add to this story in a second a new detail, because you may have heard this the other day on the show, but I'm going to repeat it again. I want you to tie all these stories together, and you tell me what the government knows. Red State, Jennifer Van Laar, fantastic. Remember the defector, Dong Jingwei from China, upper-level, high-level Chinese Communist Party defector? He comes to the United States. Well, Van Laar reported in Red State. This Chinese defector comes over, and he's talking to these two scientists. He's now being debriefed by our intelligence agencies. It was a good thing, right? We want to know what's up with the Communist Chinese Party. But as Van Laar reported, I'll go to the next screenshot, that he spoke with two scientists. Why he spoke with these two scientists, I'm not sure. But the two scientists that this Chinese Communist Party high-level defector spoke to are Stephen Quay, who we know, he's been on my show, and a physics professor, Richard Muller. Why he spoke to this guy Muller, I have no idea. I don't know what the connection is, and I don't understand it. But as I covered the other day, why is it that the same Richard Muller, who's alleged to have spoken to the Chinese Communist Party defector, then writes a piece in the Wall Street Journal about World War III being fought with a massive computer virus and an actual biological virus by the Chinese Communist Party? My question is, if the government doesn't know this, then how does Richard Muller? Am I explaining that well? Mueller clearly knows something. It says in the piece, if it's accurate, that he was talking to the Chinese Communist Party defector. Is there a plan in the works right now to hit us with another massive virus and then hit us with a computer virus attack as well to shut down our hospitals when it's happening? Folks, I ask you that. Well, why are you repeating the story for the other day? Because I'm telling you, how many signs do you need? Here, from yesterday. U.S. government emails hacked in suspected Chinese espionage campaign. The new penetration has prompted alarm amongst officials and security researchers. Part of an espionage campaign compromising valuable information belonging to the U.S. government. Ladies and gentlemen, if there's going to be a twofold attack and Mueller's onto something, the same Mueller who allegedly spoke to Dong Jingwei, the Chinese Communist Party spy, speaking to us, has the Chinese Communist Party been inside our systems for a long time? You understand what that means? That means they may have a map of all of our IT critical infrastructure getting ready to snap and shut us down the minute they launch a biological virus attack. Call me a conspiracy theorist all you want. The guy's a physics professor, Mueller. He wrote the piece, not me. It's on Wall Street Journal by Dan Bongino. I'm just putting the pieces together as a crazy investigator. Look, there's the piece right there. World War III, Before with Viruses, by Richard Mueller. It's not my piece. Folks, just put the pieces together. The government knows something they're not telling us. Here's another one. Put up that Fox News piece. Fox. Congressman has a grim take after access to UFO footage. Oh, UFO. No, forget the UFO thing for a minute. He says we can't handle it. This Republican congressman, the guy's not a Democrat, Tim Burchett, said during a podcast appearance about possible alien tech, quote, we can't handle it. We couldn't fight them off if we wanted to. That's why I don't think they're a threat to us, or they would have already been. Why am I tying this into the Chinese Communist Party story? Because, folks, there's this assumption this is alien tech. I don't believe that. I just don't. I believe it's Chinese Communist Party tech. Occam's razor, man. Apply the explanation that requires the least amount of assumptions. Is it space aliens who we haven't even figured out how they could fly faster than the speed of light? Or is it the Chinese Communist Party that's figured out some technology we just don't understand? Folks, the government is not telling us something, man. That's why I can't emphasize enough. You need to get your butts prepared today. Emergency food, emergency supply of water, water filtration, some bleach for some cleaning, learn how to use it. You can get yourself some GPS two-way communicators. I know Garmin is a good one, so you can talk to people in an emergency. It doesn't require a cell tower, uses satellite. Then get it. Get yourself some charcoal, way to start a fire, some seeds if you can. You call me crazy all you want, liberals. I give zero shits about that. They know something. This guy didn't write this piece in the Wall Street Journal for no reason. It doesn't make any sense. It only makes sense if you put the pieces together. Thank you. But folks, the biggest skeptic on planet Earth is Guy. Guy doesn't believe anything until Guy is like doubting Thomas. Like you got to stand right in front of Guy and deliver it to him on a silver platter. Even Guy just said it. He's like, I didn't buy any of this shit till I started working here. And now I'm like, you know what? The guy's not crazy. I'm just telling you what other people are saying. Guy talks to Chinese Communist Party defector, writes an article about a biological computer attack. The government admits our computers were attacked. And then they're saying there's technology out there we can't handle. Oh, shit, I don't know. Maybe we should ignore it. Yeah. Right. Yeah, exact. Worst case scenario, you spend a couple $1,000s on survival equipment you throw out one day. I know it's a lot of money. Believe me, I don't underestimate that. But you know what's even worse? Dying. And it violates the first rule of the Dan Bongino show, which is don't get dead. Here's a pretty serious guy. You know, Rubio and I don't agree on everything. He's my senator down here in Florida, one of them. We don't agree on everything. I don't like a lot of his, tax stuff plans, but that's fine. I met him. He's been a nice guy to me. No one say he's not a serious guy. Here's Rubio on the Hannity show talking about the UFO thing too. Like, it's probably pretty serious. Either we got crazy people in the government or this is real. Take a listen.
You're on the Foreign Affairs Committee and you're really involved in foreign affairs. There've been a lot of articles lately about UFOs. I know this question is a little out there. Is there any truth to any of this?
Well, we don't know. All I've said is we have people that have very high clearances, both today and in the past, who did really important work for our government or continue to do important work for the government, who have come forward with some claims about the U.S. having in the past recovered exotic materials and then reverse engineered those materials to make advances in our own defenses and technologies. That's the claim they make. Now, I don't know if those claims are true or not. What I do know is that one of two things is happening here. Either they're telling the truth, and that is something that obviously would be the biggest story in human history, or we have people in really important positions of government who are crazy and who are out there making up stories and who are still in positions of importance. Either one is a big problem. So we've got to figure out which one of these two it is, because the second one in particular would be very troubling.
Listen, all I'm asking of you in the audience, because I know there's some pro and anti-Rubio guys, just forget that for a second. Don't pencil yourself into what has Gutfeld called it, like the two whatever, something like binary. No, it's something binary. I don't even know what it is, but it's a good point he makes. Don't pencil in a good guy, bad guy. In other words, I don't like Rubio, so I'm going to disregard all that. What he's saying there makes perfect sense. Either people in the government have opened us up to the biggest scandal in human history, that there's tech out there we can't handle. Forget if it's alien or not. It doesn't matter. All that matters is we can't handle it. It's a threat. Is it aliens or China? Who cares? All that matters is, quote, Tim Burchett, congressman, we can't handle it. Or there's crazy people in the government, which is a big problem too. Now, how do I know too that something's up? I'm just reading the signs all over that the government is not telling us something about an increasingly perilous situation. Here's an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, which, believe me, was probably incentivized by some sincere government concern right now about what's going on with Russia's 6,000 nuclear weapons. Wall Street Journal, David Gompert, Russia's nukes after Putin. You're probably thinking like, oh, Russia's got this big, long chain of command like we do to launch nukes. The president does this, notifies SecDef, notifies some general who notifies the people operating the nukes. Well, that's the U.S. system. This Wall Street Journal piece was fascinating. That's not the Soviet system, the Russian system. The Russian general staff can initiate a missile launch without the permission of political authorities. That sounds to me like a problem. Because if you read the news for a living like I do, and you see the signs on the wall, and you see the government's not telling us something, this is why I worry about World War III. And then I read an article like this. So Russian generals can do it without political people in the political chain interfering? And then you read an article in The Guardian that says, Russian general says he's been fired for telling the truth about Ukraine problems. I'm like, oh shit, sounds like we have a problem. What if one of these disgruntled generals gets one of his people to launch a nuke? That's not going to happen.